Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast. Before we kick off our show, we would like to share what our main objective is at the MSP Corner. Our main goal is to help CEOs build profitable and self-sustainable IT service firms. We are not just providing tools for IT firms, we will be sitting in meetings with you to ensure your IT firm stays on track. The first area we are focused on, strategic sales. IT firms are stuck selling technology or IT support. We will provide you with the blueprint so you position your firm as an added value to your prospects. We will have framework on how to sell value so you influence the prospect into selecting your firm. The second area we see many IT firms struggle in is marketing. 90+% of businesses rely on antiquated marketing methods. The most popular choice, word of mouth. We have proven methods on how to attract the ideal prospect. Our framework will include how to become the online authority and be the business influencer for an industry. The third component to our package, scaling. IT firms walk away from opportunities because they lack the bandwidth or skill set to scale. We have lined up reputable businesses so our members can hire on-demand resources that will allow them to scale their business. The fourth area we will offer help in, selecting the right tools. In order to deliver value, you need the right tech stack. Our platform will offer information on products that are the ideal choice for MSPs. The fifth area we will offer help in is with documentation. Templates are a critical component when building an MSP. We will have contracts, proposals, SOWs, collateral, and much more in the template section. You will have every document you need to start up your managed IT service business. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go to our next podcast. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the MSP Corner podcast. I am your host, Fernando Leon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Gregory Moravietz. And the title of today's show is, well, it's a two-part series. So we're starting off with 13 tools every MSP needs to build a proactive model and reach that 6, 7, or 8 figures. So this is part 1 of 2, but before we get started, let's quickly go over the agenda because we're going to go over 6 topics, right? Like always, we have an introduction, but we'll be talking about PSA, asking Gregory his thoughts on each tool because each one is an integral part to building a proactive model. Getting out of that chaos, transitioning from the break fix. So we'll cover RMM today, remote monitoring and management, but PSA is your professional services automation. Then you have documentation, which is critical, right? It's also the backbone of your business. Ticketing, backup and recovery, EDR, endpoint detection and response. Quick, then we'll have a little short plug on the MSP Corner, and then we'll close it out with some thoughts. But let me welcome everybody again to the MSP Corner podcast. Today, well, we're going to begin a special 2-part series. 13 tools every MSP needs to move from reactive support to proactive leadership, to standing out from all the other noise, all the other IT service organizations. So in part 1, we're going to cover the foundational tools from PSA through EDR. Now, that creates structure, efficiency, and security. And in part 2, we're going to explore the advanced tools that prepare you for SOC maturity and 7-figure growth. Now, let me fix something here real quick. But okay, so let me just jump on to the first tool, which is the PSA. Every MSP needs a command center, right? PSA ties together many components, such as billing,
ticketing, project management, and reporting. Without it, operations are fragmented. With it, you gain efficiency and accountability. It's the framework that makes scaling possible. And for MSP CEOs, PSA provides visibility into profitability, resource utilization, and client health, all in one place. So my first question to Gregory is this, because in his experience, Greg, in your experience, how has a PSA transformed day-to-day operations and given you more clarity into each account?
Yeah, it's a game changer for an MSP. It's got CRM, it's got ticketing, it's got budgeting, it's got contract containment. It's got everything. You just can't scale without it. I mean, you'd have a humongous spreadsheet of information.
That's what they're saying. I mean, is that how you used to do things before? You had a huge Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah,
Oh man, that sounds painful.
it
But
was.
yeah, yeah. No, I remember when we first migrated to it, I was so resistant. And I mean, it was just a beast. Our PSA tool is a beast. There's so many features in it. It's a very robust tool. Of the 100%, if you had to put a percentage on it, what percentage would you say you're using or we're using?
I mean, we're using maybe 50% of it. We don't really use it to do quotes and to track services, but we could.
Okay, okay, interesting, interesting. Do you need an auto task expert or a PSA expert to really manage that full time, or how much of that does it take up, like out of your day?
No, I mean, once you set up a lot of it, most of it, it's okay. It doesn't need a lot of maintenance. But here and there, I do have to go back, especially when they change things and fix whatever they've broken.
Mm, mm. So let's jump to the next tool because I think this is a very critical tool that Gregory might enjoy talking about. But the RMM is about visibility and control. It lets you see every endpoint, automate patches, and fix problems before clients notice because you're able to predict issues. And there's this topic that or this word, two words Gregory uses. There's micro and macro. So I'm going to have him give us some examples of micro and macro, but micro and macro. But strategically, this shifts you from reactive to proactive service. And for CEOs of the break fix community who want to transition to the proactive model, RMM is the efficiency lever. One technician can manage hundreds of endpoints through automation. So, Greg, how do you explain the real business value of RMM to a client who just thinks of it as monitoring?
Well, it's a lot more than monitoring. It's remote management. So it's remote control. It has remote control capabilities. It's keeping track of everything you've got in your organization.
Mhm.
It's like an inventory module. It's got you know, analytical capabilities, mapping capabilities of your networks. You can map your networks with a lot of these tools. So it's got a lot of stuff.
And you've mentioned that you want to monitor for macro, not micro. So what's the difference?
So macro is large scale, big time stuff. What are you going to do if there's an outage or so on and so forth versus what are you going to do when CPU is running high? I mean, you don't really need to do a lot of work for high CPU utilization, but you might need to do a lot of work for, for something like an outage.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. The typically outages are because of ISPs. Would you say 90% of the time, or do you think there's some it would be a faulty firewall switch or router?
No, there's power outages, natural disasters. ISP outages. There's hundreds of things that can go wrong.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, no. I remember this one client and AT&T or something. No. It wasn't AT&T. It was a large client for us. I don't know. There were like 200, 300 people in one building, and the construction crew cut right through the fiber.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God, I remember that pain. So, our IT guy was out there working with AT&T. They had to AT&T had to splice everything and put that whole fiber back together. That was crazy. That was not
It
a good day.
was.
That was not a good day for AT&T or for that client, for that matter. All right, let's talk about documentation because documentation makes service delivery consistent and scalable. It ensures client knowledge doesn't just live in one person's head or even a couple of people's heads. Strong documentation reduces risk, accelerates onboarding, and shows that you are a professional, you're organized. Now, for MSPs, it's what turns fragility into resilience. So let me ask this, Greg. What advice would you give MSP leaders on building a documentation culture inside their teams? Because you know how resistant a lot of these guys are when it comes to documentation. Have you figured out that magic recipe to keep everybody documenting religiously?
No.
Well, that's reassuring. I mean, it's critical. I mean, okay, on the scale of 1 to 10, how critical is it?
I think it's a 7 or an 8. I mean, in some scenarios, you can't do anything without documentation.
Yeah.
So not having any, is really bad. But yeah, I haven't figured out a way. When I worked at IBM, there was time that was set aside after every ticket that you had to spend documenting, and if you didn't, your boss would basically fire you almost, or he'd give you a warning, and if you got enough warnings, you'd be terminated. So, I mean, that's a great culture if you can survive firing 10 or 15, 10 or 15 people a year who are failing you. But if you've got a small MSP, you can't fire your staff every couple of weeks because they don't document. You know what I mean?
It sounds painful. Yeah, no. I get it. I get it. Have you thought about? I don't know if this is even practical or if it's even possible, but where you have AI listening on calls and determining what the tech is doing, and then say, "Okay, he's done. Let me document what he did." Is that practical? Is it even possible?
Well, have you used an AI assistant scheduler or an AI assistant? Have you done that?
Not yet. I'm thinking about it though.
So I've used them a couple of times, and what they do is they record everything that's going on in the call, and then they make to-do lists out of everything. So if you're talking to someone, you're like, "How are you doing today?" and they're all, "Oh, I'm thinking about going to Italy for vacation." The AI picks up on that and he says, "Fernando needs to schedule an Italian vacation. To-do list item number 1."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not bad. It's just that, I mean, you know what I mean? It's got way more, it takes everything. It can't differentiate between, chitter chatter and real work.
Interesting. Yeah. I could see
So
how.
what you'd
Okay.
have to do is you'd have to have somebody look at the transcript and say, "Oh, this was real work."
Yeah. I could see. Okay. You make a valid point because 90% of it might be the document, might be documentation related or technical support related. And then 10%, such as, oh, I asked the client, "Hey, so what are you doing this weekend?" "Oh, I'm
Yeah,
good. Good."
yeah, it's gonna
Right.
pick up on that. It's gonna say,
Right?
Fernando has to pick up kids at the soccer field as a
Exactly.
to-do item, and if you're like, "Well, no,
Yeah.
you
I
got to go
see.
look at that."
Yeah. No. I get it. I get it. And and I wonder if AI will get smart enough where you can enter a command and say, get rid of irrelevant data, right? Because that's
Who?
not really,
What's that? What's the irrelevant data? You don't know.
well, 90% of the conversation was about tech support, right? I can't browse, I can't print, PowerPoint's, jacked.
Well, then
Um,
you'd also have to be in a situation where you're talking through your solution. You're like,
okay,
I'm going to click on this particular field. I'm going to click on this now, and no one really does that, right?
yeah, yeah,
So it would be hard to, create a scenario where you could create documentation out of an AI.
got it, got it. Okay, okay, okay. That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's talk about another component that's critical: ticketing. A ticketing system is your service backbone, because it organizes requests, it enforces SLAs, and creates accountability across your team. And CEOs, they gain operational data, right? You get resolution times, resource allocation, and client demands and requests and complaints, and obviously recording all of their uh, technical challenges. But clients gain this transparency too because they get access to that ticketing system, and this will also build trust. So, Greg, what's one mistake MSPs make with ticketing that hurts client perception?
Um, One mistake made about ticketing that hurts client perception. I mean, the ticketing system is just really a record of what you've done.
Okay.
Um, it isn't a method. A lot of people try to communicate through it. A lot of people use it to, uh, you know, do things. They think things are going to happen based on the ticketing system, and that's a mistake. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be
Mm,
using the ticketing system as your resolution matrix,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
You should be
Yeah.
using the ticketing system to just simply track what you worked on.
Okay. Okay.
Because if you don't and you use it to just try to communicate with people, no one gets it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
So
All right,
there
we
you
got
go.
two more. We got two more tools here to talk about because I think this is probably in the top three. Backup and recovery, because backup, it isn't storage. It's really your no pun intended, your backup plan to restoring data, because it shows how it just shows the that you have a plan in the event of a disaster, of a fire, of data, ransomware, somebody downloading a ransomware. You've got to get that. You've got to restore data from somewhere. And Greg, I hear you talk about, so there's raw data, and then I want to say, every time I hear you say, well, is it raw data? And I'm like, well, what's the other? Cooked data, right? Because I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, let's think about this. If it's backed up, the only way you can restore that data is if you restore it in the exact environment. Is that correct? So if somebody stole a server or somebody stole a computer, it's got to be that same platform it's on, or what's the secret sauce here?
I mean, a backup is like you said, is your backup. It's like when you say, you know, we're gonna go out and we're gonna use like we're gonna drive this car, and when we drive it off a cliff and it crashes and explodes, how are we gonna get anywhere? We have to have a backup car, right? And if
Yeah.
it's got to have maybe the same exact settings as the original car, and if it doesn't, then we can go nowhere. We're done. We're finished. We're not going to move forward at all. So unless you restart from scratch. You could restart from scratch, and some people in their work environments can do that, like a service-based organization, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're a plumber, you don't need backup. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're not going to need to restore a wrench, right? But if you have data as a plumber and you have all your customer data and all the parts and stuff they ordered, if you lose that, you got to start over from scratch. And that's going to annoy everyone, and it's going to take you a lot of extra time and blah blah blah. So the data is important because it saves you time. But if you have a situation where you have in the car situation where you can't move forward without it, you have to have a full backup of that vehicle, whether it's your IP, whether it's your server farm, whatever it is, you have to have a fully functional backup of it.
Well, it's also a reputational safeguard, and because if you can't, if you're in charge of their network and their data and you cannot restore it, ooh man, you're gonna take a big reputational
Well, you'll
hit.
be fired. You can't work somewhere
Yeah.
where you're in charge of something and then not do it.
Well,
Sorry.
I hear you, but here's the thing. And walk me through it because I'm not as technical as you are. So as you know, all I think it's 60+% of organizations are now in the cloud. And let's say all of my data, all of my emails, I'm on Microsoft 365 and I'm a not technical person. So I'm thinking my email will be up there forever. Well, I download ransomware. And is it possible for my email to get encrypted? Someone to take over my Office 365 account. Is that possible?
Well, it is and it isn't. If you get ransomware, your machine at your home is going to get messed up.
Okay.
Right now, they don't have a really good ransomware for infecting cloud systems. And cloud systems have safeguard against, their environments being encrypted willy-nilly or without your permission. So you're going to be safe there, but your home computer is not going to be so safe. So your Office 365 and your cloud environments are interesting because they can be protected, but your home network is not going to be protected.
So, and if you have servers on prem, they're going to have they're
That's
going to be
right.
right.
Servers on prem are going to be damaged.
Okay. So there's no way. It's impossible. So you're saying it's impossible for your data to get encrypted in the cloud because let's say you're some CAD developer and everything's in the cloud. Your all your files are in box.com or whatever. Nothing will is It's impossible for it to get
No,
encrypted.
it's not impossible. It's just
Yeah.
unlikely. Impractical. It won't. It shouldn't happen.
Mhm.
It's very difficult for it to happen, but it can happen.
Okay. Okay. But it's 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 unlikely. You've never heard of it.
It's very unlikely. I've heard of it, but in very, very rare situations where someone actually pushed, pushed data to the cloud that didn't need to be pushed that way because it was encrypted. But
Okay.
it's like you'd have to consciously do it.
Got it. Got it. Okay. 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 That makes
So
sense. Well, let me get to the last piece of, well, the last tool for this series, for part one here. Let's get to EDR, endpoint detection and response, because as you know, antivirus is outdated. EDR detects behaviors, not just signatures. It demonstrates you're aligned with modern standards, MSPs. When implementing EDR, it helps them differentiate themselves. If And it helps gain client confidence. So when you're implementing EDR, it's about proving you're proactive in protecting your clients and intellectual property because yeah, antivirus is like a dead weight on your desk. You need to, all of your endpoints need to have EDR. Antivirus is useless. There's no even reason. There's no reason to even consider it. So, Greg, how do you position EDR so clients see it as a business protection, not just another security product? Because have you ever faced any resistance when it comes to EDR? I've seen resistance with MFA, dark web scanning, phishing training portal, but EDR, have you ever gotten any resistance?
Yes.
Really?
The reason is that what's the difference between Microsoft Defender, which is free, and what you're offering, which is $50-$60 a year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would I buy something that's already free?
Well, let me ask you this before you go on. Is Microsoft a security company, or are they known for having security gaps, and they're mainly a software developing firm that
Well,
develops?
you also have you have anti-Bill Gators, anti-Microsofters. They'll hate it no matter what it does.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you compare, or how would you match up, let's say, Microsoft Defender against Sentinel-1?
I wouldn't compare them. I would say there was no comparison.
Oh,
Microsoft Defender is not very good.
okay.
It's a weak sauce. They've tried to improve it and get back some reputation.
Yeah.
I never really see it, but Sentinel-1 is a superior product.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you just have people that are, I guess, big Microsoft fans, and they'll just bow down to Bill Gates, right? Because that's
Well,
they,
it's free. It's free. There's cheap people and then there's non-cheap people.
yeah, yeah. We can't deal with those cheap people.
The cheapies, yeah, they're cheapers.
All right. Well, let me close it out with my plug. Well, I have my closing thoughts, but let me just give a quick plug to the MSP Corner. We got an exciting message. Well, piece of information or news. We're going to be going live every Monday. Gregory and we're going to come up with a titled show where we're going to go live on Facebook. I have a weekly show on Facebook Live, and people can log in, ask questions, get advice, and just have more interaction with our audience. We want to encourage you guys to join in, listen in. Gregory and I will be discussing a different topic every week, but our main goal here at the MSP Corner is to deliver valuable content to our members. And as founders of an MSP, we know the struggles many of you go through. And we've developed this platform specifically. It's been designed to help guide you through your personal challenges. And we want to offer frameworks that solve that marketing and selling challenges, because I know selling is very tough. Plus, we've got dozens of resources that can help you with outbound campaigns, SEO, PPC, email campaigns, and much, much more. So let me just close it out with my final thought of just a reminder. This is part one of our two-part series on the 13 tools every MSP needs. And today we covered the foundational stack from PSA through EDR. These tools create structure, efficiency, and baseline security. But in part two, we're going to cover the advanced tools that elevate MSPs into a more robust delivery of security services and compliance readiness. So join our mentoring group and learn how to apply these tools strategically into your own business. And thanks for listening. But I also want to say, don't forget to sign up to be a member on the MSP Corner. Go to www.mspcorner.com. If you want to get in touch with Gregory or I, send us an email, info@mspcorner.com. It'll get to both of us. And please share our link with the CEO of an MSP will find our information beneficial to their business. All right, guys, have a great day.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to sign up to be a member on www.mspcorner.com. Please share our link with a CEO who will find our information beneficial to their business. Have an awesome day.